welcome to the EST Hangout.
This is the EST Hangout, and today's guests are...
Happy Thursday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout, which is presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea, real brewed tea, big taste, bold refreshment. Don't just give a hoot, give two. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with you here on EdmontonSportsTalk.com, on TuneIn, on iHeartRadio, as well as those watching on YouTube. Joining us today, as he does every Thursday almost, it is Joaquin Gage, former goalie and of Two Guys and a Goalie. And I should have got like the official title you want to go by, but director, producer of documentary Running Back Relentless, which is on Andrew Harris. Taylor Prestidge with us here. Taylor, welcome and thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Let's slide Taylor's mic to his face.
Yeah.
We want to hear you.
I do speak loud. I didn't realize you're a goalie. We'll get into that in a minute.
No, it's a well-known fact that I was one of the greatest Edmonton Oilers goalies never to play.
I can relate to that.
Lots to get to on the show, including our qualifying opportunity for the $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golftown that takes place next Wednesday, and a qualifying opportunity for the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival VIP table. And also the news for Darren Dreger saying that Ken Holland has informed the Oilers he will not be returning in any capacity as his contract is set to run up. So there's a lot to get to. And then later in the show, Paul Sir is going to be joining us as well to talk some Hoots City 3x3 as well as the NBA draft was last night.
It's almost like someone on this station has been saying it for months.
Yes.
Well, whatever.
What?
The Ken Holland would be coming back.
In any capacity.
Oh,
just somebody.
I don't listen to you, so
Evidently nobody else does too, so whatever. That's cool.
Well, Taylor, let's get into the doc here to start because we don't have you for too much time. Running Back Relentless, a documentary on Andrew Harris. It's out right now on YouTube as well as on Google and coming up soon on Amazon. Just what made you want to do a documentary on Andrew Harris and how did this all come together?
You know, Andrew and I have been working together for quite a few years, and him and I, our relationship evolved from what started. We did all the Team Shaw content when he was actually going back to when he was with the Lions, and I always knew his story was pretty powerful. So in 2018, we actually did at TSN a short 23-minute special with them, but I really felt like we were kind of scratching the surface on what this could be, and there was, for editorial purposes, let's say, there was certain things we couldn't really dive into. And when he was coming up into his final season and he had announced that it was his final year, he was in Toronto. We're based in Ontario. So I said to him, I go, you know, if we're able to get good access, this would be pretty incredible if we could get truly behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And for two reasons, I thought it would be great. Number one, his story is unbelievable. What he went through to what he became, what he endured when he was at the top. Guys, he talks about things that are really, really hard that people don't talk about. He talks about things like we were talking off camera, depression, suicide, racism, abuse, things that it's a real rarity to hear athletes in general talk about that, but to hear a CFL player talk about it is pretty heavy and wild. So from a story perspective, we knew it would be, I think, a slam dunk. And then also from an access perspective, you know, he's become a great friend of mine, and the Argos were really, really cool about letting us in, you know. So kind of that combination of being able to give CFL fans access they maybe haven't had before to one of their all-time stars, but also to just create a story that I think anyone, regardless of being a CFL fan, could enjoy is something that I thought was really important. I always give the comparison of, like, remember that movie Free Solo that won Best Documentary a few years ago? You know, I didn't really give a crap about rock climbing before that movie or after, but I thought it was an unbelievable documentary. So I hope people that aren't just CFL fans can, you know, get something like that out of this.
That's cool.
Well, so, like, I find with most documentaries, like you say, you get into it for a reason. You say rock climbing, but it exposes so much more of the personalities of who you're essentially talking about. Was there multiple other avenues that you, when you're doing a documentary, do you uncover different things and and go in that direction, or like you said, you already knew a lot of the things that this was going to be a good story, but even a deeper dive, did you even find even more things about Harris that you uncovered in this?
Yeah, I mean, it's something I guess viewers of the doc will find his rawness around when he was at the top of his game. So I knew a lot of his backstory. Obviously, I've spent a lot of time with him, but I never really realized how hard, how bad things were when he was seemingly at the top. And to me, it's the most powerful part of the movie. A lot of the stuff in his childhood, obviously, is pretty heavy and intense as well. But, 2019, they win the Grey Cup, bring the Grey Cup back to Winnipeg for the first time in almost 30 years. He's the hometown kid. He's the star. He's the first ever MVP and most outstanding Canadian in a Grey Cup game. Like, life couldn't seemingly be better. But at the same time, it was like a duck on water, right? Everything looks calm on the surface, but underneath it's paddling like hell. So he really, he was going through some really, really tough stuff. And he talks about things that is crazy, it's crazy to think seemingly the king of his city could be going, what he was going through, in between the years and in his personal life was insane. And that's a big part of the film. So yeah, I mean, that's the part of the film I didn't expect. And I would say it's the most powerful part.
How much football tie-in is there? Obviously, the theme is, one of the superstars of the CFL, but like how much of it is about Andrew, the person, as opposed to Andrew, the player? Or does it tie in seamlessly?
I hope it ties in seamlessly.
Gotcha.
It's kind of almost parallel storylines going at once, which is his final journey in the league and his final season, while simultaneously kind of exploring everything that's happened up till then, and they both kind of catch up at the end. But it's funny, man. Like he's a hockey player first and foremost. He'll tell you that too. Like, CFL reporters will always say to him, like, like, who's your favorite player growing up? And he'll be like, Steve Yzerman. And actually, funny enough, now I kind of encouraged him to do it, as I think he has such a competitive streak that any pro at their level would have. But I kind of was encouraging him because now that he's retired, he's finishing his he's moving to London, Ontario, and he's working in business with the guy who used to own the VI Raiders Junior Football Club, who's like a father figure, mentor person. So he's in business with him, and it's based out of London. And I said, I think you should really think about playing senior hockey, because he was a highly recruited WHL prospect who chose to go the football route. And so yeah, that's what he's doing. He's going to play senior hockey with a bunch of ex-pros and ex-junior players, and I'm a goalie. I don't play in that league, but I was like, is there any way that you would actually consider this? I can kind of make some connections for you. And he did. And he's playing for the Tillsonburg Thunder. Actually, and I always joke, my only cameo in the film is I always try to sneak one cameo in somewhere. And mine is at the end, in the end credits, when you see him playing hockey, he scores a goal on a goalie, and that is me. But for the record, I let him score it.
Okay, that's how it is. Well, who's the director? There's one director that's always puts himself in the movies.
Todd Phillips?
Tarantino.
Tarantino. I was thinking Quentin
yeah.
Tarantino always finds a way to get himself in the movies. I love that. You just got to get yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh, and you're so sorry. I know you got questions, but you were a goalie as well. Did you play for Hamilton when Hamilton was affiliated? So I must have watched you play, because I grew up in Milton, Ontario, and the AA centers aren't quite as wealthy as the AAA centers, so we weren't going to Leaf games. We would go to Bulldogs games, and I remember like Steve Passmore, and Tim Thomas, like they would have been.
I was before them. So
right on.
The first year in Hamilton, I was there.
Cool.
Yeah, so when we went to the Calder Cup finals, against Hershey there. So
right on.
Yeah.
So what's the hockey team though you cheer for? Is it Leafs?
I hate to tell you guys, I'm a Leaf fan. I actually dress like this. I wanted to dress as Florida as possible coming in here without getting beat up. So we're going through a little bit of flux. So I understand when you were talking about Kenny Holland moving on. I was like, this is par for the course with what I've been through the last few years as a Leaf fan.
Should they trade Marner?
No comment.
So what does the Leafs need to do then?
Well, you know what? I'll say this. I don't
where do
think
they need to
I
go?
don't think Mitch Marner's a Berube type player. So
That's fair.
I would say, regardless if I was a diehard Marner fan or not, I think you're kind of gauging by my tone which way I lean. But I don't think he would really fit into a Berube type system. But again, the player has all the power here. He's in his last year of his deal with the no move. They might be kind of saddled with it. He is a Toronto kid. His whole world is based in Toronto, but maybe the bright lights in the big city somewhere in
Nashville,
the southern market.
Yeah.
might
Of
be good for
Edmonton.
him.
They're gonna Marner for a Draisaitl trade.
Oh,
Is that
stop it!
Do you guys you already have Cody Ceci and Jack Campbell and Connor Brown?
You
and
could take
Zach
a couple of
Hyman.
those
Who
guys
else?
back.
Yeah, you guys
I'll
wanna-
gladly send a couple of those back to the Toronto Youth. Send over Mitch Marner. It'll be fair trade.
Hey Taylor, do the Marlies need a goalie? He's only worth $5 million.
Yeah, right.
So how much work goes into putting on a doc? Like I'd imagine there's a lot of stuff that gets cut and put on the floor.
Yeah, it's a lot, man. I actually I'm in Edmonton filming a different documentary at the moment, and we were just talking last night after we wrapped. Like, you could almost do a documentary on how much
Doing a documentary.
on how much footage goes to waste in whenever you make a movie, especially a doc, because when you're filming a scripted either film or TV show, all the shots are very intentional. They're scripted. The director goes in and has a vision for it. It could take one take, it could take 10 takes, right? But they know what's happening. In a doc, anything could happen. And there's scenes, for example, we filmed a whole bunch of scenes out on Vancouver Island in Victoria, in Nanaimo, and because we were setting up his life after football, but he chose to not go there after football. So basically, we have like 4 days worth of shooting plus expenses and all the things that went into that there's just a couple snippets that made it into the final film. So to your question, it's wild, and really the direction in which the subject chooses to go will determine the direction of the film. A director and a producer don't have as much control as they do in other shoots. But yeah, man, it was like an 18-month process of filming, behind the scenes, filming stage things, filming interviews. It's a lot of work.
Did you need permission, final approval permission or anything from the team or the league?
Yeah. They were, and you know what? I'll say this. That was a big nerve-wracking point for us because obviously this is kind of new waters for the CFL to venture into, and especially something of this, let's say, emotional depth. And we were concerned that we would get approvals, but they were super cool about everything.
Nice.
So they were, in the end, they were really great. They also own all the archive footage.
Right.
So we had to license that from them. And in order to do that, they have to be okay with what it's going into. So they were great. And like, I can't say enough about the Argos. I think also the Argos, from a fan base perspective in the CFL, struggle a little bit compared to some of like a Saskatchewan or Winnipeg or Hamilton even. So, for them, all the media, the better. So they were awesome. Like, and you'll see in the doc when you get a chance to watch, if you choose to watch, that we get some amazing access.
And then when it comes to the music,
When it comes to
how does the music come up on this?
Franco Goldman.
You do the music.
Well, kind of. I don't do it. Franco does it, man. You have to talk to him about it. No, I'm also a musician as well. So with the last few documentaries I've worked on, my alter ego has been a big part of the scoring process.
That's
Sorry,
a
the alter ego.
Is
Sorry,
this Franco Goldman?
Yeah. You'll have to ask him, man. I don't know.
That's a triple threat. Goalie, movie producer, director.
It's the Franco does the music.
Is this
And
like a
music-
what does
Chris
Franco
Gaines
do?
thing?
Well, I wouldn't put goalie into that realm. If I was as good at that as some of the other nonsense I spin, it's all smoke and mirrors, man.
That's my career.
Yeah. good in the room, glue guy.
Glue guy,
For
sure.
Yeah.
Other glue guy might get
other
upset. We
glue
have
guy
one of the
might be
other
a
guys
little
that was
bit
on the morning show.
unstable.
His title is glue guy, so he's now going to be mad that Gager's getting that title.
Right.
If there's one doc you have if there's a dream doc you would love to go do one on, what would it be?
That's heavy, man. I'll put the oh man. There's a lot. I'll say one thing. Not that I've already inquired and not that anything's fully in motion or whatever, but I really feel okay, so let's say sports specific.
I'm good with whatever.
Okay, well,
Like,
I
I'm
mean,
good,
we're
like,
on a sports talk show, so
you
I'm
can go
gonna,
to sports
yeah.
here.
I'll say this, and maybe it's an Ontario-centric comment, but I feel like Don Cherry's story hasn't been told the way it should. And Don is such a polarizing figure. I don't agree with his politics. I'm not of that ilk, but he was respected and widely regarded as one of Canada's greatest citizens.
Yeah.
This CBC, I believe it was, a couple years before he got fired, had him ranked like third behind like Tommy Douglas and the person who invented insulin.
I have to look this 100 greatest people. Right?
Yeah, there's that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it's like, a couple years later, he's off into the abyss. Like, it's like, and at the end of the day, I think the four of us sitting in this room will eventually turn into the old guy yelling at the cloud.
I am that guy.
I'm not far off either.
But I would say I would love to do a story about Don, because I think, I know they did that kind of, CBC did kind of that scripted thing on him a few, but I mean like a true deep dive into him and his story, the impact he had, what he did for our veterans, what he did for women's hockey, what he did for just being a good, just being a great Canadian. Obviously, he said some things that I don't think any of us would agree with. But he said a lot of things that I do agree with too. And I just think for him to be climbing up there in age, like I bet you he's pushing 90.
Yeah, he's slowing down a bit.
I would definitely love to see. It doesn't have to be me, but I'd love to see that one done.
He was ranked third behind only Frederick Banting, inventor of insulin, pretty important, and then Alexander Graham Bell, also kind of important.
That is Don Cherry. Yeah.
He's ahead of Tommy Douglas.
he's one up on Tommy Douglas,
God.
and two up on Terry Fox, three up on Wayne Gretzky. So
he's up on Terry Fox, guys, and he's up on Wayne Gretzky.
Yes,
and what year did that get published?
Oh boy, what year was this?
I want to say that's like the late 2000s.
2004. It looks like.
Really?
Is it that long ago?
Okay,
that makes sense a little bit.
Yeah, 2004.
Whoever does it, hopefully it's me. I mean, we'll see, but they got to just steer clear about talking about visors,
Love visors.
Running back Relentless, Apple TV, Google Play right now, coming soon next week, hopefully, right? For Amazon.
Yeah, it'll be on Amazon next week.
It will be? Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's going to be fun. I look forward to actually watching this. Now that the Oilers playoff run is over, unfortunately for some out there, but there's a lot of catch up to do. There's a lot of things missed. So this is one that's definitely going to be fun to see, and it's just great seeing something on the Canadian Football League and the players within the Canadian Football League. So good on you, Tim.
I appreciate it, and thanks so much for having me. I have to ask before I run out of here, where do the Oilers go from here?
I will leave it to the Oiler guys over there.
Oh, go ahead, Gager. You played for them.
It's too early. So much construction has to be done. Obviously, the core group, you have to put them in at least the top 5 teams in the league to get to the finals next year right now. But we really don't know until training camp, see who's on the team, who do they re-sign, what the rest of the division looks like, things like that. But when you have Connor and Leon in your group, you're sitting pretty.
Yeah.
We're both goalies. What do you think? What do they do with Jack Campbell?
Well, that's tough because, I mean, you've seen some other teams move their, problem child goaltenders a bit. I mean, Steve Staios in Ottawa just was able to move Korpisalo. I don't know. I like the fact that there's 4 capable goalies, even with Rodrigue, their shining star, rising a little bit. Sometimes it helps to have a veteran down there with him. I mean, the cap hit is when he's down there about 3.5. It's not the whole 5, but to get over that hump, I think you need that extra cap space. So look for him to be bought out or moved if they can move him. I think
I think they're gonna try to move him.
They're gonna try.
They're gonna be good. They're still a good team. New faces and new places, but they'll be good. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks again for having me, gents.
Thank you so much.
Man, that
Sure,
was
great.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. And yeah, all the best with the current doc that you're working on right now.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
and come back in when that other doc's done.
Okay, will do. Definitely.
okay.
We need the
Please.
story of
Yeah,
Joaquin
please.
Gage.
Yeah.
The Joaquin Gage.
It's a short story.
Those are one of those
See too.
ESPN 30 for 30 shorts.
Yeah.
Taylor Prestidge, running back Relentless, is said available Google, Apple, as well as coming out next week on Amazon. Thank you to Justin Dunk, who helped
Nice.
set that up for us. And
That's
now
sweet.
I will slide in on this shot. 3-shot. Paul Sir will be joining us.
Sweet.
A little bit later as well. This is the EST Hangout presented by Hoots. Matt Iwanyk, Joaquin Gage, Tom Gazzola with you here. Let's get into Hangout headlines, which is brought to you by the Ranch Golf and Country Club. Premier conditions, top-notch service, unparalleled value. Check them out. TheRanchGolf.com is how you book your tee time. We are there next Wednesday for our $100,000 hole-in-one contest presented by Golf Town. Then we're there July 9th for the EST Classic, which actually quickly on the EST Classic, I have, I think, 4 or is it 6 spots open left.
Wow.
I've just had some things change. So I have a couple spots open now for the Golf Classic. If you're at all interested in golfing, whether you're a single, if you could get a twosome, or if you want to get a foursome in, email me today, matt@edmontonsportstalk.com. I only have the final spots. There are nothing else. We will be completely sold out, but I did have an opening that popped up here. So Matt@edmontonsportstalk.com. Get in touch with me if there's a bunch of singles. I'll put you together. But if you know you have a partner, or if you could do a foursome, let me know and I'll deal with that after the show.
Question. That's
Shoot.
why my hand is
It's
raised like a good
unbelievable.
boy in school. A lot of people asking me what time this thing starts.
I will send an email to everyone early next week.
That is a
8
non-answer.
8 o'clock. I'm getting to it. It's on the website too.
okay.
8 o'clock shotgun. Breakfast will start at 7. There will be the lunch dinner to follow.
Awesome.
You guys watched a good documentary lately?
Been a while.
What did I watch? I watched something on like Unidentified or something like that. It sucked. It was poorly done. It was like an alien one. This
Oh,
whole
yeah.
alien thing that's going on it's like fascinating, but some of it sounds like BS. So that's kind of like captured my attention lately. What was it? And like a bunch of like news. There's a guy in the U.S. Gotti, what's his last? Schwartz. He's been all over like the U.S. encounters with unidentified
Oh, really?
aerial phenomena, UAPs.
Yeah.
And
Why are they going to change the name?
because of the stigma,
Oh, jeez.
as I've learned. And then and then the other one is George Knapp, who's working still for a local Las Vegas news station, but he has a podcast with this filmmaker, documentarian like Taylor, named Jeremy Corbell, and it's called Weaponized. And like they deep dive, and you're like, okay, some of this sounds like BS. But then Corbell and Knapp, they're like behind all the congressional hearings. They're literally like sitting in the background as like captains and guys from the Top Gun and all these former Navy pilots are like telling them what they encountered. And there's like, I'm like, oh, there's George Knapp,
Oh, no
and
way.
there's Corbell. I'm like, this is insane. So, and Knapp is like, he's like a 65-year-old. He's been doing it for like 35 years. Sounds like he hacked darts in the 70s and
yeah.
80s, probably early 90s. And I'm like, that's a true journalist, and I respect him very much. And he just says, he's like, I've seen some crap I don't understand. I've read documents. He smuggled like secret documents out of Russia in 1993.
Really?
Yeah. And the way he did that was he put a can of tuna in his luggage, and like the dogs caught onto the tuna. So they're like, "Oh, you have tuna in your luggage." He's like, "Oh, sorry, I forgot about that." And they didn't look at all
they
like the
didn't?
papers
Oh,
and shit that he had
okay.
in there. I keep swearing. I'm gonna stop swearing this week. I'm sorry.
It's all right. You're
I didn't
mad.
even notice it.
Yeah, thank you. I just that's a self-own that I need to be
all right.
better. But anyway, I've been just like tied up in it. I'm like, this is crazy.
That's great.
The Edmonton Oilers have issued a statement regarding Ken Holland from CEO of Hockey Ops Jeff Jackson. Quote, the Edmonton Oilers and Ken...
Usually the mission statement of most GMs is, I think, and he did it. He got to the finals within 7th game with what he was able to put together. Yeah, is there a blemish? Yeah, but
a few.
I still when Jack Campbell was signed, it was a good signing. It was a necessary signing at that point. You couldn't go into the season with Stuart Skinner
Correct.
at that point.
Correct.
It allowed Stuart Skinner to take over. Sometimes you see this a lot in the NHL. Sometimes the big gun falters. The number 2 guy goes in and has a lot of success.
Cristobal Huey, Antti Niemi, Chicago Blackhawks, 2010.
Look, there's so I should actually look through all these different scenarios where that's kind of happened. But because there's always something to fall back on. You know, you're playing with the house money, so to speak, as I go, well, the other guy's supposed to be playing. I'm just playing now. You know, there's no real pressure. I'm not supposed to be playing this good, right? It's the next year where, you know, okay, well, now you're the guy. Now you have to perform. There's a little bit more pressure. So perfectly executed by Stuart Skinner. And then, you know, this year the start wasn't. Jack Campbell actually was the better goalie at the start when
He had a better training camp.
I just got to jump in quickly. I guess Whale and the Wolf jumped on there
Fix it.
right as I was making the statement there, so I'll just reread that. Well, I think I have to take the Wi-Fi off. Jeff Jackson just had a release saying that the Oilers and Ken Holland have mutually agreed that his contract will not be extended beyond this current term, and they thanked him for all of his contributions to both the city and the Oilers. And there will be a press conference around 11:30ish or so today. So that's what it was. Very kind words in a one paragraph thing from Jeff Jackson. So just throwing that out there to those on the audio stream that may have missed that.
You think he completely shuts it down, or
Well, the rumors now Chicago potentially.
like consult, like
Yeah, because they have Kyle Davidson there, right?
Well, I don't know if he's president of hockey ops. If they don't have a president of hockey ops, Ken Holland comes in as president of hockey ops to oversee Kyle Davidson. He's not an advisor. I don't see him going anywhere to be an advisor.
yeah,
He'd just retire, I would assume, at that point.
yeah. I mean, why not just head back to Vernon and
Do things.
sell a couple Dysons and you're good.
Oh, yeah. I wonder
want
if
a
he's even known about, like, imagine selling a Dyson now compared to what he used to sell.
Yeah,
He's going to have a great time selling those.
I love those like very simplistic Dyson commercials where it's like a Swiss man telling you about it with a weird accent, and you're like, wow, that looks like a very formidable vacuum.
Yeah.
I want one of those.
They're great. I love mine.
Yeah.
Although it's falling apart though.
Oh,
so.
damn.
Yeah, having a dog ruins any vacuum. But if you cheap out on a vacuum, it's the biggest mistake you can do. Those other brands, they suck. Ew.
How dare you besmirch my Bissell?
Bissell's okay.
Yeah.
Lasts a little bit longer.
I've said, I have like a $20 vacuum I use, but it's all like I'm mostly all hardwood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's
not-
great. If I
it
could,
works.
I got to get rid of my carpet in my house. I hate carpet. It's gross. I don't know who.
I love carpet. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It hides the dirt easier.
Yeah.
When you have a hardwood,
Hardwood's great.
like you always see the dirt. You always see you vacuum and then there's all of a sudden something falls down, and then also it gets dirty with your feet and stuff in the summer. And you have to mop it all the time.
That's fine.
They're doing Jeff via Zoom.
Well, is it not in? Okay, I saw that. Is it not there?
No, they're doing it via Zoom.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe at the draft.
probably, right?
Yeah, everybody's in Vegas. Oh my God, it's tomorrow.
my
The draft is tomorrow for crying out loud.
Yeah, Guy Flaming from the Pipeline Show will be on the Hangout tomorrow
Perfect.
to help us talk some draft.
Yes.
The draft's tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Free agency's on Monday.
Free agency's
Yeah, I
Monday.
know that,
like,
but
You know,
Right.
I'm messaging Huss. We're gonna try to get that Jeff Jackson live.
Okay, good.
We might end the lock shop early. Switch to like
or two guys.
two guys a little
I'm
earlier.
in for Dusty. For
Yeah,
two guys
and what
today.
we'll do is like here's programming on the air. Depending on if Huss is good to go with lock shop, him and I, because I'm on with Huss today with the lock shop. We'll wrap it up, and depending where we are with time, either I'll just finish the lock shop with Jeff Jackson on.
Yeah.
And then we'll transition to two guys, and you guys could recap what's happened.
Okay.
Or if there's enough time, I'll just shut it off, and we'll go to two guys. We'll have
Whatever
to figure
you guys
that out.
want.
But we'll make that work. But yeah, here in Edmonton Sports Talk, we will get you Jeff Jackson. There's no question about that.
Do you want to quickly touch on free agency programming?
Well, yeah, we'll be live at 10 o'clock. Just figuring out what it will look like. But we'll be on for a little bit on EST, starting at 10 o'clock in the morning, and just see that's when everything starts kind of signing, and we'll know some things. So we'll have some stuff here.
Live from my balcony,
Is that where you're going to go?
crushing a beer,
I'll connect you on that.
Tank top and short red shorts and Canada stickers all over my face. How's that sound?
Okay, I'm expecting that now.
I'm not doing that.
Oh, that's my anniversary, right?
July 1's your anniversary?
Yeah. So I wouldn't forget.
He loves you, Megan.
Okay, I don't know if Eric's trolling me or not,
Probably.
because he just texted me, Holland officially not returning, just announced.
No, he's not.
He's not trolling?
No, he's trying to help you.
Well, thanks for listening to the show, Eric.
He's a busy boy. Look, they're still talking in
I
the
announced it
studio.
twice because Whale
Yeah.
came on.
It's
Yeah, we got this.
I wonder if you think any splashes, big splashes, Stamkos comes to Edmonton.
No.
No?
That's wishful thinking. No.
Out of all those big free
Wow.
agents,
I think it's just going to be minor tweaking here and there.
Could they go get it that defenseman?
what do they
Like,
need?
would a Tanev be able to?
That would be great.
Could they go do that and deal with the ramifications
But
after?
okay, they could deal with the ramifications after. Would be okay. You let Vinny Desharnais go. Philip Broberg's now your 7, or do you get rid of CC and Kulak? I don't know. I wouldn't get rid of Kulak still.
No,
Okay,
never.
but if you get Tanev, you just need to get rid of Cece, no?
Well, yeah, and then you'd lose Desharnais. You'd let him walk, and then Broberg would be your 7. Do you make?
Well, who's
Broberg
your
seven?
6? Who am I
Kulak.
missing?
Well, Broberg, one of those guys has to play the right side. That's if you keep Kulak and you only get rid of CC, you try to bring back Desharnais, and say you go out and get a Tanev, then all of a sudden you got a logjam for 7.
I don't
Because
think-
you'd have Bouchard, Ekholm, Nurse, Tanev, Kulak,
Broberg.
at 6.
Oh, then Desharnais. Then you have to bring back Desharnais. Sorry, my math is terrible.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah.
if you could get rid of CC after, you maybe go get Tanev. There's shores up there. If you're fine with Skinner and Pickard in net, you're then just trying to offload Campbell in some way.
Yeah.
The only issue is if you don't buy him out prior to free agency, I don't know fully how that second
I think
window.
they're trying to cook up a trade for him. That was
But
the
then you got to get
intent.
that.
Yeah.
But so then they'll probably know that ahead of time. And then what do you need to do forward wise? Besides, I think forward wise, you just want to re-sign as many of those guys as you can.
Henrik's not coming back, by
Yeah.
the way. Like this was a
well,
pure
who knows?
rental.
Do you think? What if he doesn't get the?
I'd
think-
be incredibly surprised if he came back.
Oh, really?
I don't think the intention is to come back at
okay.
all. Yeah.
He's going to look for something
Yeah.
regardless. I mean, I guess it comes down to if he can't find it.
Yeah, that's a good point. And then
Then he circles back.
circles back, kind of like how Kane did.
I have a feeling Vinny Desharnais is gone.
Think so?
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
He definitely acquitted himself nicely throughout the regular season. But I think the fact that he didn't play in the finals made his decision making a lot easier. Just seeing the progression of other, but he's still serviceable. I think throughout the regular season and stuff. But for a guy his age,
Okay.
going through the minors like that, I have no problem with him trying to maximize things too.
And that's what I was going to ask you about. Like, for him, like you said, the struggle, the long game, he played it, he won it.
Yeah.
He's put himself into a very good situation here. For him, when he looks at this, is it a team saying, we're going to give you 3 years, here's $6 million or something like that, and you're going to play every night? And he just goes, hey, thank you for everything, Edmonton. You're the reason why I got here. I need to go take this.
Yeah, he's going to say, these guys have this. Are you going to, and they're going to say, no, we're not willing to do that. And he's going, okay, thank you. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
And he should do that, tell you the truth. Like, I mean, that's life-changing money for the rest of his life. And he's earned it. So I think there's something there where he can move up in the depth chart throughout the regular season. But as we saw in the playoffs, it's a different animal. And the forward checking, I think, of the Panthers kind of made the coaching decision quite easy for them to use Broberg instead. And Broberg looked fantastic,
good,
man.
yeah.
Like there were times when he was under pressure and just grabbed the puck, took 2 strides, beat two forward checkers and a quick pass up, right? Like he's really improved his game.
Okay, on Kenny Holland really quickly. Stoff obviously big time numbers guy. Obviously. Says Ken Holland inherited 25th place team in May of 2019 in his 5 years. He had the second best points percentage in the Western Conference at 633. In the last 3 postseasons, Edmonton won the second most playoff games, 29, and that's obviously more than any other of the other Canadian teams, which is fair.
Yeah, it's. You always look in and I think I said this before, but at the beginning of last year, I wonder if because didn't Bukestad want to come back here too? Like,
He wanted more. He wanted the 2 years, didn't he?
yeah,
Or
he
was it the money?
Yeah, it was money.
did he get 2 in?
He got 2.
He got like a nice, he got a
this-
juicier deal.
But wasn't it the same as McLeod though? Isn't their deal exactly the same? And that's kind of the position.
I will look at cap friendly if in the last few days that I could look at cap friendly.
Hey, that sucks. So that's moving.
Puckpedia.
Okay.
Get used to
and
it.
then something else will pop up as
Yeah.
it does.
Or Puckpedia will probably do rather well.
In the
So-
meantime, Rams fan texting, where's Jonathan Taves at? Dream big. I think Jonathan Taves is done.
I don't think you want him at that age. He's no.
McLeod. Oh no, we're looking for 23, 24, right?
Yeah.
23, 24, 2.1, and next year as well.
Yeah.
So he's 2.1, and now I need to find Utah. Weird to say that.
Utah Hockey Club?
I think it's the same.
Utah Bukestad is.
I think you got 3 years.
2.1. No, 2 years. 2.1.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Same deal.
It mirrors the thing.
But I think, after last year, Ryan McLeod looked really good.
Yeah.
And I don't think there was no way you could have went.
And the
we're gonna
age,
move on
that
from
factor.
Ryan McLeod and
I
keep
know.
Nick
Yeah.
Bukestad.
I know.
But
But now it looks
now you're
like
You're
there's
like-
people sitting there going,
You could have Bukestad again this next year.
Yeah.
Like you're.
and he had another good year.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For a
like,
terrible team.
Yeah, he was really like those games against the Oilers in that crappy state. He looked really good.
Yes.
So,
Remember he sniped the
he
2?
sniped blocker side.
Yeah.
On,
and he fired them by
yeah, like
Skinner's
that's
head.
such a hard shot to
Yeah.
make, like from distance. Too bad.
Yeah, he's damn good. Like
He's really good.
I would. Yeah, I mean, revisionist history.
Yeah,
hindsight's
yeah,
2020,
whatever,
all those
whatever.
cliches.
Yeah. But
Who knows? Maybe here's an interesting thing too. And listen, McLeod did not have a particularly good postseason. We're not going to hide that.
scored a big empty netter.
He's a huge empty netter. Listen, he didn't have a great postseason, but he's not the strongest, toughest guy. There are elements of his game that are strong. There are elements of his game that need some brushing up going forward, especially in the postseason. There was a guy on the Edmonton Oilers in 2016-17 named Jordan Eberle who got mocked for his postseason play. Too small, too soft, too slow, this, that, all those things that they said about him after he got drafted. Went to the Islanders, ended up being a pretty damn good playoff performer, carried that through in Seattle. Guys can improve. They can learn. They can adjust. They can change. So maybe Ryan McLeod's the same. Now, is it kind of in his nature? Yeah, maybe not. He's a very easygoing, nice guy. So is Jordan Eberle. But when it comes push to shove, like down a push to shove, and Eberle he turned himself into a battler and a warrior in the postseason. Maybe McLeod does too. Who knows?
I'm sure. I don't know. Maybe this year, everything that happened with his brother obviously would have affected him too, right?
yeah, probably.
So, that's worrying about your family and things like that. So that's those types of things can hinder your play for sure. But yeah, I loved him on the wing. So
Yep.
but I don't know. We'll see what I'm excited to see what they can kind of put together or where some of these other free agents go. I think, top of the list is Stamkos.
I know.
It's
I'll just believe he stays in Tampa.
Yeah. If you're Utah though, like, aren't you going out there and trying to make a statement and bring in a high impact, big name guy?
But do you want to just bring in a name for the sake of bringing in a name, or do you want to make sure you're filling out that cap space as best as
That would be
possible?
so
as possible?
Utah to just be like, we're just going to get adequate players and have a good team.
Well, but it's like the one thing we've learned over the last. Now the cap is going up, so this changes it a little bit more. But there's nothing like having cap space. That
As
is
we've learned.
so valuable.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like for them. I wouldn't just go spend money all over the place just for the sake of spending money because you can.
Yeah.
yeah.
If you're 10 million still under the cap or 12 million still under the cap going into this season, I think there's nothing wrong with that. Don't go bring in a Stamkos on an overpriced contract just for the sake of we just have this money we are going to spend, because I think that could hurt you a little bit longer. Also, why would, if you're Steven Stamkos, why would you go there?
I know.
Like Stamkos, it feels like
Good point.
There's 3 spots I could envision.
Where?
Tampa, Detroit, because Steve Yzerman,
You're making all that room.
and then there is always the Toronto. Toronto players do go home.
Yeah.
Toronto players have, now not all of them do, but there've been enough we've seen, especially in the later part of their careers, they go home. So that's the one I'll always just, or maybe I'm just buying into the Toronto love a little bit on that one.
What if Stamkos goes to LA?
Ooh,
They just freed up some cap space.
they did.
They need a centerman.
You're still in a great city. You are in with a team that it could win.
It's a hockey market. LA is.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah.
How bad?
Play the groundwork before Matthews comes.
How bad are the Stanley Cup celebrations in Florida?
Well,
We at the Comrie Brothers, we used to have the Braggers Cup.
Yeah.
We had more people following us after the end of the summer following that makeshift Stanley Cup trophy at Billiard Club back in the day.
I love Billiard Club.
Than they have. Like it. I said this before. The players, the management. Yeah, sure, they deserve the cup, but the fans of Florida, they don't deserve it. That's ridiculous. Having the Stanley Cup and trying to and walking across the street, like.
And you get like 2 people. Yeah, all right, guys. Good job.
It should be like a U2 concert in the 80s. Like there should be 1 billion people showing up, right? The one video I was talking about before, that I don't know if you guys saw it. I think it's Sasha's place in Miami. It looks amazing. Like it's all glass and it's on the water, like that little inlet before you. And the boats are going by and they're going, "Hey, great job, guys.
Cool.
Hey, can I see the cup?" And they hold it up and go, "Yay!" Like, come on, man.
Well, that's like the video I showed you that was posted by a Las Vegas account, because they're like they need a hockey market to be celebrating, and Vegas had a great party. Vegas has become a very good hockey market, by the way, and yeah, it was like they were waiting at the corner for the light politely, and a few people honked as they went by, and then there's a lady kind of just like looking at them. It's on my Twitter, so it's just like, yeah,
that's sad. It's so like this city would still be crazy.
Yeah,
still. Yeah, it's unfortunate, but that kind of
this city feels like it's in a wake right now. Still,
I know.
That's because we haven't got good weather still yet.
Yeah, that's true.
It shouldn't. The next day it was like all dreary and rainy.
And today it's the same type of thing, and
that sucks.
the wind needs to go away. Go away.
Oh,
wind.
please.
That's the thing that just is so annoying right now.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's going to be there all year. Josh Clausen, figure this out.
Figure it out.
Who, by the way, he is. I love Josh. If he's listening, I'm going with this.
He's got me watching more Live, and I've reluctantly watch it.
I love just the type of sports fan he is, because he doesn't just dream big. Like he's out of this world. He just texted me yesterday because the Knicks they sign Anunoby. They traded for Mikal Bridges a couple days ago. I get the text. The Knicks are going to win it all next year. So and I then said, like, he's made that comment a few times with various teams. The Jets are going to win the AL East, all of that. So I said, careful with the proclamations. And he goes, "I'm not just predicting one title. This could be a dynasty, and dynasty in all caps." So he's pretty happy right now when it comes to his Knicks.
Dare to dream, Clausen.
I know we're not supposed to say his name on Dusty's show, but I was reading some stuff about Aaron Rodgers and how he went on a bad ayahuasca trip and now he doesn't want to report to camp or something like that. Like, what's up with...
He's off on his own planet. You want to talk about aliens? Wow.
Like, I don't get it. Like, don't the Jets just let him go with this?
I don't.
Just Huss and I are talking here. We're going to do a 30-minute lock shop today.
Okay.
So once that's done, we'll wrap things up, and we'll be talking some CFL today. Huss is down in Vegas for the draft.
Yes.
If we have time. I don't know if we will. Some Euros and Copa. But then we'll quickly transition to just 2 guys. I'll just quickly transition. We'll run Jeff Jackson, then you two, and we'll get Cass on, and we could have you guys discuss everything that comes from Jeff Jackson today. But yeah, we will get Jeff Jackson for you live here in Edmonton Sports Talk around 11:30ish.
Sounds good. Coach Mike texting in Paris Jewelers inbox 780-218-9999. Chiarelli didn't give Eberle a second chance before trading him. This was McLeod's 4th playoff run, 13 points, 56 career playoff games. Yep.
Yeah, geez.
Coach Mike, don't trade just him for the sake of it, but the Oilers need more from him on the postseason. Yeah, Coach Mike, I'm with you. Like, I don't disagree with that. I guess my whole little rant there was wishful thinking. In the end, I could have capped it with that, but he's still relatively young. Maybe he becomes battle hardened. Was he 24 years old? But the whole conversation though, and Gager made a good point, was like we were looking at this last year. It's like, do you sign McLeod or do you sign Bjugstad? Bjugstad was 31, I believe, at the time. McLeod 22, 23. McLeod was looking better. And that's just, we're going back in time a little bit. This one comes in and says, my anniversary to Gager, always get my wife fireworks. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
E-Train, you guys are dunking on yourselves when breaking news just starts to emerge.
That was the issue earlier.
We were joking. Oh. Yeah.
Quickly, portions of this hour brought to you by the Hive Product Marketing, official merch partner of Edmonton Sports Talk, promotional products that bring the buzz. Check them out, thehiveproductmarketing.com. You'll also be able to see them, Brett and Chelsea from the Hive at the EST Golf Classic. They will be there as well. What's coming today?
What do you mean?
I have something coming today that we ordered. I'm trying to remember what it was.
For the Golf Classic?
No, this is for other giveaway. This is stuff that you could get at the tailgates at Elks games.
Oh, cool. Footballs?
No.
With sunglasses.
Yeah, that's what's coming.
I got you.
Tomorrow, I think we got water bottles coming. We have our own waters coming, labeled waters and stuff. Whoever's here tomorrow is gonna have to help me because there's 50 of them, and we gotta carry them up the stairs.
Oh Jesus! I said I was working tomorrow. Darn it!
Oh, it's coming later, like after 11.
You know how long I stick.
That's
around
true.
here.
Yeah.
That's true.
Let's give you a beveragino.
I told them that it because she asked for times. I could have been an ass and went like 9 to 11 right during the hangout, so I didn't have to do it. But I said after the hangout. Although if it comes between 12 and 1, me and Tommy have the oil stream. So
Joaquin will be
to come. Have a nice workout.
Yeah.
Let's get to our qualifying opportunity for the $100,000 hole-in-one, which is presented by Golf Town. They've got the trade-in days, which are back. Get 50% off. Or no, get 50% trade-in bonus when you trade in your old clubs, plus free driver or iron fitting to upgrade to your best gear. So take your clubs in. And they will appraise it, and then they'll give you your value, and on top of that, they'll give you an additional 50%. So if your clubs are $200, they say they're going to give you $300 that you can use towards new clubs. Visit golftown.com or see them in store for more details. The keyword to text is 780-218-9999. This is the second last qualifying opportunity for the Hangout. So this would be, we're qualifying someone for the draw for the 24th contestant, as there's only 25 contestants. The keyword to text today, it is couples. Couples to 780-218-9999. Freddie Couples, absolutely.
I saw him golf in person once.
It's incredible watching those guys.
Like farting through silk, that guy. It was amazing, his swing. Him and Davis Love III.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's when they were at the top of the Fred Meyer Classic in Portland. We went and it's poetry watching that guy swing.
Go watch the Seniors Tour. The Championship Tour goes to Calgary. I've gone a few times, and all these old guys are there who I know and love.
Yeah.
And like, hey, I grew up watching these. They're still just incredible.
Yeah.
They're still, it's effortless. They just look at it. And then boop. The nice big crowd around them, doesn't matter. Nice little bump and run, whatever it is. Their drives, if you stand behind them, just put it down. Quick little setup, boom, down the middle.
Yeah,
just perfect. It's unbelievable to watch.
It's unreal. His swing, like I couldn't believe. If you've never seen professional golfers, go just once, because you can't believe how far the ball goes.
I'm so jealous of pro golf. Like, it's amazing.
So far.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I remember I had to go see, because that's when he won the Masters, I think, that year. That's the year he won. He was just on fire. And man, that swing was perfect.
What do you think the Champions Tour is like? Because that's like the ultimate just get out of the house, do whatever you want, make a lot of money at the same time, even though you've made a ton of money in your career. Like, Those guys are riding the gravy train. They probably drink themselves silly every night, eat steaks, red wine. What time are you teeing off tomorrow? 9. What place you in? I don't know. Who cares? I think I shot a 70 today.
Yeah.
That's got to be the tour. Like that. I'm
Actually,
sure
I
there's
think-
guys with the fire in them still, but
Yeah.
I feel like they don't give two.
Bernard Longer is
hoots.
always at the top. The Canadians, Ames, and Weir don't do too bad out on the tour.
Yeah, because they want the money. The
it's
other guys
also-
don't care.
Well, Bernard Longer's he has got to have some money.
Oh yeah.
I'm teasing.
Jimenez is out
Jimenez. I love his
Angel
warm
Jimenez.
Jimenez and his like
Yeah.
little his warm up.
Yes.
Have you
I
ever
love
watched
it. I
that?
love it.
They also only do 3 rounds. It's not 4. It's not
Fantastic.
72. It's not
They're old
72.
men.
They're that, but they don't need the world championship points. That's the difference between
Yeah.
that and live. But yeah, it's I don't know. It's fun going to see them just because it's all the names you grew up on.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is incredible.
You,
want
you,
access.
you two yahoos would love to golf in Germany.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
You need a license.
What?
Yeah, like when I was over there, some of the young guys, some guys were okay golfers, not a lot of good ones, but loved to golf. And you had to go through a certain, you got ranked with your license. So then you could only golf at certain times.
Wow.
So if you were a good golfer and consistent and did your whatever, you scored well, you could golf at prime time.
Wow.
Instead, if you were Zacticum, you'd probably have to tee off at midnight, right?
Sorry, sir. This course is closed for you.
Have you gone out yet?
No.
You still? I thought you were going to
And
go a couple days
I
ago.
was going to go tonight if the weather was good. And who was it that told us that you can get out for... It was Phrase. Phrase said at like Riverside for like $25 you can get out after 7. Great. Like today was supposed to be the day. I told my brother, he's in at his office downtown. I'm like, bring your clubs and we'll go. And he goes, well, what about the weather? I'm like, just keep an eye on it. It doesn't look good.
Where's Riverside?
Down the
It's
Dawson Bridge,
by McNally,
Capilano
Oh,
area,
okay,
kind of, yeah.
by
What's-
Hilltop Pub, which
What's
is
the
real
one by
close.
Windermere? What's the little public course by Windermere?
Uh,
that one?
Windy
There isn't
would
one.
be.
Yeah, there's another one down there.
Is that Edmonton Springs?
No, I forget what
No,
it
because
is.
the
River
publics
Ridge?
are Riverside, Vic, and Rundle.
River Ridge?
Oh, no,
River
those
Ridge.
are public city courses. I
Yeah,
should
we're
say.
talking
course,
about the
yeah.
public one.
You just go by Windermere
River
is
Ridge? That's what it's...
Jagger Ridge is down there.
Yeah. No, not Jagger Ridge.
Riverside, not
No, not
It's
Riverside.
is it CCT? One of those.
I thought
Jagger
River
Ridge is
Ridge-
a nice... Yeah, I think
I
that's
haven't
it.
played Jaeger Ridge.
Jagger Ridge is nice.
Played
You can't.
Lewis a
You
bunch
don't.
last
You
year.
don't use the driver much, but
We camped on a canoeing trip across from Windermere Golf Course.
Windy's nice. I like that course.
I saw someone who was a golf club there in the water. River Ridge.
Yeah.
It was
River
all
Ridge.
really raining. We were like the third hole or something, and as they swung, it slipped out of their hands, and it was all just water in front of the tee box, and we just watched this like 9-iron just spin into the water.
my niece works at Windermere, and so I guess she could get me on or something like that. But that's where Leon goes too.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. She always says Leon was there. She doesn't always say it, but he was working with a pro on his swing. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Lucky.
Lucky.
Lucky. River Ridge, yeah.
Those guys sticking around? Who's sticking around? Most of those guys take off now.
Oh, they take off.
Yeah, they're-
I would think it would just be
they had their
locals,
party yesterday.
potentially.
Did they?
Yeah, Belzy and I went to go, hey, Paul.
Look who it is.
On time.
All good.
Not really.
Belzy and I were going to have a business meeting
Oh yeah.
at a particular establishment, and we saw Brad Harrison walk in. I'm like, what the hell's Harry doing
Yeah,
here?
yeah,
And Belzy was on the phone. I'm like, go make fun of Harry. And then we go and we look, and it was closed for a private event. We're like, oh, it's the end of beer
okay,
party.
Right.
So we ran into Quinn Phillips, the commish,
Oh no way.
at Cactus Club. It was good. We had some beverages and some laughs. Hello,
Mr.
Paul.
Sir, it's
Paul, sir.
Pleasure.
Joaquin Gage.
Joaquin,
He's
nice
a
to
big
meet
fan.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Huge
as
fan.
well.
Huge fan.
Likewise.
As soon as I said to him that you're coming in today, he was actually like, he's like,
Yeah.
really?
This is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. I apologize for being late. I was on a lengthy call with the organizing body for our big 3x3 event, and we're doing a variety of things over and above just the Olympians playing, but we're doing a lot of other things. So we were getting final details looked after.
Let's
so it's
go.
great to be here.
No,
Good to see you.
it's great to have you, and not late. We planned for 10 o'clock, so it was like right at 10 o'clock. I think the door opened, so you were right on time.
I hope the photo radar wasn't working today, so we sped things along. Let's just put it that way.
So what, a week and a half, I guess less than a week and a half away from Hoop City 3x3?
Yeah, Friday the 5th.
Yeah.
We get started. We start unloading into the fan park on Monday, the 1st. So on Canada Day, we'll get started setting up. It's a big production. We create a whole arena under this special dome that we bring in.
I was just gonna ask you about that. It looks so cool.
Yeah, it is.
Honestly.
It's an amazing feat of engineering.
Yeah.
It's a German product. It's supposed to be able to withstand winds up to like 240 kilometers an hour.
We get those.
Yeah, we do. That's right.
Perfect.
That's right. And also, we should be able to continue on playing at least for the major events while that's going on. But we also have, along with the women's series, which will feature our Canadian women, which are getting ready for the Olympics.
Yes, they are.
A lot of other top women's teams from around the world. We have the Men's World Tour. We have 5 of the top 8 teams in the world here participating. We also have another FIBA event, which is going to send a women's team to another women's series event in Saskatoon.
Cool.
And then a men's event that will send a team to Shanghai. Kind of have to massage that a bit, Saskatoon or Shanghai, but we didn't have a more what you would call spectacular event that we could send the women to this year. But we'll work on that for next year. Then we have our grassroots event, so we'll have kids from 9 to 90 playing out there. So
9 to 90?
Yes,
Really?
If you know a 9-year-old wants to play 3x3, they can play. We have a division. I once played in a division called the Older Than Dirt division, so we have one of those. So yeah, food trucks, entertainment. We got some great entertainment. Heavy emphasis on culture, in celebrating the talent in our city. So we're getting ready to go.
Jeez, it's like I can't believe it. Like that's the thing with this Oiler run. It's just awesome. We're talking like this because draft is tomorrow, and you've got free agency on Monday, and it's just like, 3x3 is a week and a half away. Well, less than a week, 9 days, 8 days away.
Yeah.
I mean, like K-Days isn't that far off, and like everything it's like going to be right away here.
Yeah.
Well, the world stood still for everybody. I mean, what a magnificent gift to the city of Edmonton this run was. My gosh. Being from Minneapolis in that area and knowing how hard it is to win a championship, when you look at the Timberwolves that flirted with something this year, couldn't quite get it done. Very few cities ever experience anything like this in any major league sport. So for Edmonton, with its tradition, to have another experience this year, I watched more hockey than I've ever watched and became even more of a fan than I was before.
We'll continue with Hoop City right away here. But
Sure.
what'd you make of the NBA playoffs and the finals and like the
It was awful. It was dreadful. Like as a spectator,
playoffs or finals or
playoffs
both?
the playoffs had intrigue. Finals were just. I think we all went into it. There was that rational argument that the West is so much tougher than the East. The Mavericks will be, really hardened and, ready. The Celtics haven't played anybody. Celtics are just so much better than everybody. And they just walloped a very interesting but flawed team in the Mavericks with some gaping holes in terms of what they were capable of doing compared to what Boston did. It's still basketball. It's still great basketball. The playoffs were fun. Especially when you prop it up against the NHL, the NBA finals were very anticlimactic.
Why? And it's just like the Pacers had the Celtics though. Like that's the one thing is the Pacers had the Celtics.
Could have been 3-1.
Yes.
Should have been 3-1. They found a way to lose.
Too many times. Like in the last possession, they just gave the ball up. Like I think like 2 straight games and stuff. Like
I know. Like you said, just unusual bad plays at the absolute wrong time when you just couldn't make a play like that you probably never made all year. You probably never blew a game like that all year. So that's tough to live with. The Celtics are great.
I've started watching a little bit more women's basketball. Obviously,
Yes.
the intrigue of Caitlin Clark, which it drives me crazy that what she's been able to like filling stadiums and things, and some of the people talking poorly about her. What's your take on this whole situation? I mean, it brings more eyes, obviously. Just bad publicity is sometimes just as good as good publicity. But I think they're kind of mismanaging this talent that they have with not only with some sportscasters, but I think with some of her opponents and things. I just find it absolutely asinine that they're talking this way about an up and coming star.
I love your perspective. Mismanaged, I couldn't agree more. They were not ready for the moment, is how I read the WNBA right now. And the WNBA is loaded with fantastic people really working hard to further the cause of women in sport. And to have now, though, a seminal moment like this based around an individual that, for whatever number of reasons, galvanizes viewers over the last 2 years, it's Tiger Woods, it's Magic and Bird. It's just one of those phenomenons that happens every so often that's somewhat inexplicable. But when you look at, to your point, like what she has done, I mean, if you really state it honestly, she is the WNBA. She is what is driving eyes to them. If Caitlin Clark tears her knee tomorrow, do those viewers stay with the WNBA? Probably not. Maybe more will. But they're selling out stadiums to go watch Caitlin Clark. They're watching.
They're changing those stadiums to sell them out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they're leaving their small home bars
exactly.
to go to the bigger one just so they could sell it out for Caitlin Clark.
Exactly. Her coach came out the other day at Indiana, and her criticism was Caitlin needs to shoot more. She knows she has a green light. Who would have ever thought you'd ask Caitlin Clark to shoot more? Yeah. But she's trying to adapt to it. I mean, she just set a franchise record for number of assists in a game. Like, she's the best rookie in the league.
Yeah.
And the face of the league and pulling everyone in. And you're right, though. I think it's a combination of not being ready for the moment, jealousy, discomfort with the fact that this one person has garnered so much attention. What about all these other great players? All valid points. But it's just the way people consume sport. Once in a while, a personality comes along that like what were Tiger Woods numbers for PGA events versus non-Tiger Wood numbers. I mean, that just is what happens. And so she's great for women's sport. Being from Iowa, born and raised in a small town in Iowa, I mean, obviously I follow the Hawkeyes very closely. My whole family, my dear mom, who's actually in getting a test today in Mayo Clinic, macular degeneration, bad hearing. She's almost 91. Watched every Iowa Hawkeye game this year. And, I mean, everybody lived and bled Caitlin Clark's exploits. And the way it's spilled over into women's sports is, I just think, wonderful. One broadcaster that I've talked with, though, said, I hope they don't kill the goose that laid the golden egg. And they flirt with that when they come out with this unnecessarily sinister, undermining conversation points that they make that are really just petty.
Yeah. What makes her, like, I've watched her a few times, not completely at length, but I've noticed that, like, she's a shooter, right? But she seems to be using her teammates a lot more and it's kind of like she's drawing double teams at times. What do you see her progression like? Is the sky's the limit with her? Is she going to? I mean, I look at other top scorers. She does well, but there's other people in that league that are doing more throughout the games that you don't hear about too much. I just was curious how she stacked up against the other ones. But what do you think she's going to be able, like in 1-2 years, is she going to be the best player in that league? Or
I would think so, because what people sometimes her scoring prowess overshadows the fact that she led the nation in assists last year too in the NCAA.
Yeah.
Like, that's no small feat. And all of the players on the Hawkeye team, I mean, you take Caitlin Clark off that Iowa team and they're maybe a little bit above 500. Instead, they're playing 2 years in a row for a national championship because of one player. I think what makes her so dynamic, though, is her changing the way it's perceived now how women can shoot from deep. She is to women's basketball what Steph Curry was 12 years ago to men's basketball, when he was taking what at that time were considered to be outrageous shots.
Right.
That was unthinkable. Like, what's Steve Kerr thinking? Well, it's changed the NBA.
Yeah.
That's what she's doing to the WNBA. Now, women are more empowered to believe they can do that too. And being familiar with how she grew up, how she practiced, the tens of thousands of hours she spent in the gym her dad built for her in the garage, along with all of the other playing. I mean, she's just a really great player. Her court vision, her ball handling skills, her ability to shoot and create shots, and her court vision is all great. But what she will have to do to reach that pinnacle, though, most likely, is she's going to have to get stronger. And that will come. I mean, a month and a half before she started playing in the WNBA, she's in the NCAA
Right.
finals. It's such an unusual transition to the pros.
Yeah.
There's no 9-month runway to get into the weight room.
Yeah.
She'll do it because she works so hard.
You mentioned her and Steph Curry, the way they shoot, and I've heard you talk about shot mechanics a lot. And I think, if memory serves me correctly, like even Steph Curry, it's a unique way of shooting. Are there similarities between? Because I've kind of looked at both, and it looks quite similar how they get the ball off. And you talk, I've heard you talk. It's fascinating, this to the release point and how they do this. So there are. Am I
very similar?
Yeah,
very similar. It's a great observation because traditional jump shots were peak jump shots where players gathered. Jerry West shot a peak jump shot. He up at the top of his shot, released the ball. But where range has developed, and Jerry West played during a non-3-point era, where range started to develop on the release was when you start putting the 3-point line in, it's really difficult to gather, go all the way up, and release with consistency, as opposed to shooting on the way up. So you get your power from your legs, knees bent, power from your legs, and it propels the ball out of your arm, and then the follow-through is the critical part.
Yeah.
Left hand off the ball at the point of release, and your follow-through, but power coming from your legs and your core. And that's why Curry can shoot from such outrageous distances. That's why Caitlin Clark can do the same. But what makes them remarkable in both cases, and this is where you see the thousands of hours of shots, it's doing it on the move.
Yeah.
It's not just catching and shooting, it's creating off the dribble, going in different directions, stepping back and shooting over your defender. And that's where, I mean, that's ballet to me.
Oh,
you know, like that's just thousands and thousands of hours of repeated practice and repetition doing it correctly.
Was there ever jealousy for a young player coming into a locker room that you experienced? Like that oh, here comes this hot shot or something?
Yeah. There was when Mike Comrie came.
Yeah.
How was that?
So, I was on the team at that point. He was in Kootenay. There were all the rumblings that he was going to come to the team, and he was kind of holding out. And we had some pretty big dogs on the team, like Doug Waite, and I remember Jason Smith saying some expletives. Who's this snot-nosed punk coming? And because he seemed kind of arrogant. But that was, we didn't know what to expect from Mike at that point, right? And at first I kind of, okay, who is this? Is he going to come on and think I'm the big dog? That's what we heard. That's what the rumblings. He walked into the room and he was like so shy and just like a little mouse going, oh my God, like, pleasure to meet you. And he was so genuine. I go, this guy's salt of the earth. Like, and
super nice.
And he's super nice, and he's a great hockey player. There was he checked that ego thing.
Yes.
Way before he got into that Oilers dressing room, and he was embraced by everyone right then. Right. So, but there's nothing like, we would never have gone outside of the dressing room viewed our opinion of a young hotshot coming in.
What about a visitor player coming in? Was there ever like a focus on?
No. It's
Because that is the part that's fascinating about Caitlin Clark, is that
it boggles my mind that you wouldn't like. It would be essentially if Connor Bedard going to Chicago and well, let's say Perry. So who is this guy? He's going to have a tough time. So you didn't hear that at all. They were like, we can't wait to get this player on our team. I can't wait to go up against this guy because I know he's. There was a respect for a young player to come into the league, and I like I said, I think it's a huge missed opportunity to boost her up. Even. Like, of course, you want to beat her or him, right? You want to embarrass them. That's the competitive side of you. You don't want them to have any sort of success. But outward, I hope they do great. They're doing great things for the league. A bunch
of teams got charters because of her.
Just like that.
It was also like that. Because she was asked one question about how with the Hawkeye she had a charter and like what's it like going to be going to commercial flights, and all of a sudden there was an attention. Oh, the WNBA doesn't charter. And just like that, a bunch of teams added charter. It was like, what, they don't charter? And it became this story. And it's all around. And like Clayton Clark she actually answered that question really well. She didn't complain about it. She was just said, I can't remember fully what she said. But then all of a sudden, the WNBA is chartering.
Wow. But I don't want to compare Mike Comrie to Caitlin Clark.
No.
But no, that was, she seems the way she answers the questions as a humble rookie, right? It's going to be difficult. I'm going to have to work on my game, all this stuff.
I watched Chicago and WNBA game just because of Angel Reese last week. And like, I at times am annoyed by her antics, but at the same time, I'm like, she's pretty good. And I like the competitive spirit. The one clip that actually came out of that game that I loved was they were waiting for some free throws and she was yapping at another girl on the other team. And the ref came up to them and was like, you guys need to cool down. They're like, both are like, get out of here, shoot the ref away. I was like, good, like let them play. Like that element I like, but I like how it's getting people talking about it. To me, I'm intrigued, but like Caitlin Clark, I know she's brilliant and all that, but like I'm looking at Angel Reese, I'm like, I can't stand you because you're hot dog and you're this and that, but then she backs it up with her play, and Paul, I can't look away, and I'm watching, I'm going, and then when I saw that clip, I'm like, respect, like. You got me.
She's embraced the villain role.
She really has.
She's great at it.
And
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's not. And she's really a good basketball player. Like, honestly, I think with, like, Clark has been, I think, magnificent in how she's handled all of the barbs that are thrown her way. And I really think the big difference, and I'd really appreciate your opinion, the big difference is the phone. Now, everybody gets on and they do their hot take, faceless, nameless, love to shoot off, and the prevalence in sports talk radio of the hot take. The guy getting on there and just saying something outrageous about a player. And it really has no place. And then as soon as somebody says or does something, it's going to get blown up in proportion to what actually might have happened or what the intent even has been. I think that's the biggest difference I see is just that everybody's emphasis on social media. But if Clark maintains her composure and just keeps working through, I believe will become less and less. And with all the pressure on her, I just marvel. That's what makes her the most unique. Everybody knew all year she had a shot at breaking Pete Maravich's unthinkable, unattainable record, and she did it. She just kept performing and kept performing. It's remarkable to see. It's great for women's sports. It opens the door for villains like Angel Reese.
I love it.
To come in, personality coming into the WNBA that they have lacked before. I love your example because to me, that probably, and maybe this is a bit overstated, but that's probably a bit of misogyny on the part of the officials trying to control what the little ladies are saying out there. There's still that carryover. So the fact that women feel confident enough,
especially at such a young age,
to say, no, we're fine. We're good. We're just talking smack.
Yeah.
The perfect example is tennis, where men go off the handle But when women do it, they're looked at as
Serena's a whiner or whatever.
It's
and,
absolutely ridiculous.
Jimmy Connors, they would have been viewed as there's passion.
Yeah.
But Connor's McEnroe.
It's passion.
Yeah.
Right? But then I remember Serena at one of the U.S. Opens, because there was a lot of this anger at her and something. But it's all that this is just like what it's a complete polar opposites that they get labeled as.
Yeah. Kyrgios is still a baby.
Oh, 100%.
He's still a baby.
He is, and Djokovic is hard to take, but that's good for tennis too, because you've got the elegance of Roger Federer, the passion of Rafa Nadal, the villain in Djokovic. I mean, I'm a huge tennis fan, and I miss Federer so much, and just that element of that. Like Jakob Sinner, marvelous player, but he's a machine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Federer was a ballet, but
he looked like a cat. He looked like a Black Panther out there.
He did.
It's just the way he covered the court. It was fantastic.
And his personality and those personalities, that was really great for tennis.
I'm glad. I wanted to get to tennis actually here, and I'm glad that you're here too, because I know you're a tennis guy. But Canada's announced its Olympic team for tennis at the coming up here. Bianca Andreescu, Felix Auger-Aliassime, Gabriela Dabrowski, Leila Annie Fernandez, and Milos Raonic. They will be the Canadians representing us for tennis at the upcoming Olympics. Andreescu in singles, Auger-Aliassime in singles doubles, Dabrowski in doubles, Fernandez in singles and doubles, and Raonic in singles and doubles. I don't know, is Denis Shapovalov hurt or something?
I think he is.
Is he?
I think so. I remember seeing something where he pulled himself out of consideration.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember if it was injury or if it was... he's been struggling so much over the last couple of years. So is he trying to rebuild him?
Well, the Canadians overall kind of... not too long ago, like there was this huge buzz around them and they were all just right close to the top. And now it's kind of...
faded.
They've taken a little step back and see if they can get back. But I'm not going to lie, that's some pretty good names for us going. I'll take that. I'm pretty happy with that roster.
If they can stay healthy, it would be great. What did Raonic have? Like 47 aces in some recent tournament? Wow. I mean, Milos is back. But
always had that serve.
Oh, my gosh. I got to see him a couple of times at the U.S. Open at one of the side courts.
Wow.
I watched him practice a few times, but I got to watch him in matches on one of the side courts. So you're like, here to the door away from him. And that was fun to watch.
I bet.
That kind of power and explosive contact with the ball from the racket. It's pretty impressive.
I like tennis.
Speaking of the Olympics, I didn't know that it was thrown out there that Caitlin Clark's not on the U.S. team, but she's eligible for Canada. Can they get her? Think parents or somebody has some sort of citizenship. And
That would be
they don't take her, somehow get her on Team Canada. Let's build that story. Let's get Canada versus U.S. at the Olympics and Caitlin Clark taking on all these people that are against her right now.
Get to work, Paul. Get to work.
What a coup that would be.
Oh my God.
What do we have to do as a nation to convince her?
She's the Brett Hull of
the reverse. You guys got Brett Hull. We're taking Caitlin Clark.
That's right. No. Well, speaking of the Canadians, though, in the Olympics in basketball,
it's unbelievable.
It really is. 3 teams that have real shots at medaling.
Okay, could we start with the Plouffe sisters? Because you've mentioned they're going to be here next week for Hoop City with the 3x3 event that's going to take place in there. To those that don't know about the Plouffe sisters and how good they are, what are they coming to see if they come watch the Plouffe sisters?
You come and see 2 women that are 6'3", 6'4", graceful athletes combined with power. It's an unbelievable combination of power, finesse, ball handling skills of a guard, passing skills of a guard that can shoot the 3 and can finish around the rim. Like, they really are complete players. There's a reason they're the number 1 and 2 ranked players in the world.
From Edmonton. Remember that, people.
From Edmonton. Went to Harry Ainley High School. And they both played in the Olympics in 5-on-5. Michelle twice, Catherine once. In Michelle 2012, 2016. They should have been in the Olympics in 2021, but because of 3x3 being an entry sport, there were all these strange rules that were applied to 3x3, which were very restrictive. And so they weren't eligible, even though they were world champs and the number 1 ranked team in the world. They couldn't get into the Olympics. But they're there now. They've had some challenges. And the 2 major challenges are Michelle tore her knee in the second last play of last season.
Yikes.
And it was a bad one. So, but she's come all the way back and rehabbed unbelievably well. But, you know, I wouldn't say she's still 100% Michelle, but she's 90% Michelle, which is good enough. Catherine Paige Crozen, and who's from Humboldt, Saskatchewan, but lives in Lethbridge, and Casey Bosch, who's from and lives in Lethbridge as well. They have this cohesion. Casey's a disruptor. Paige is a shooter and an outlet. But Catherine and Michelle are just, they're just so phenomenal. But that number 1 is Michelle's injury. But the second challenge will be the rest of the world's getting better because they've had 2 years to see this dominant team. They've won the last 2 World Cups. But now France in particular has prepared really well. They're very good. Spain's very good. But
U.S. got an injury with Cameron Brink because she was supposed to be going.
Yeah.
She had the ACL or whatever.
Yeah, she did. But they'll still be very good. You know, they'll just...
They could replace her.
They have other players that are very good. So, but Canada in 3x3 is going to be right in the thick of it. And everybody who comes and watches them live, it's a treat. It's an experience that you just can't believe how good they are, how fundamentally great they are. I have such an appreciation for women's basketball, like because we have been the training center for the women's national team over the last 12 years, and they've been training at the Saville Center. It's like watching great horizontal basketball. Like it's not vertical like the NBA, but the athletes are fantastic. They're explosive, but it's not the same kind of explosiveness, but technically they're just so good. So you really gain an appreciation. That's embodied in Michelle and Catherine. So people get out and watch them play. They're playing on Friday and Saturday. The women's series starts Friday at 4:00. Canada will play twice on Friday, and then it'll culminate with hopefully a championship game later in the evening on Saturday. So Friday and Saturday. It's going to be very cool.
Oh, I'm coming down for sure.
It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Me and Hernan were there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
We didn't get there last year, but we went, just had some drinks, and it was just like when you do watch it for the first time.
Yeah.
It's wild to see just how quick paced it is and how it goes, and it's a go action, and it's the best.
Elements of hockey in it, which I really appreciate because the ball stays live.
Yeah,
you know, and old 3x3 with 3-on-3. Which is always fun, but you check the ball out front. If you watch the Big Three down in the States, this is, you know, old plodding guys, first of all, like guys with names, but not the physical conditioning they once had, but they check the ball every time. And it's just a very slow game. This is very, very quick.
Nice.
So it's a lot of fun.
So what would you say just on the NBA, what's your favorite era of the NBA?
It's the 3-pointers that we're in now, isn't it, Paul?
I wish it would have been one. See, I grew up watching Bill Russell and Will Chamberlain, so I'm really old. And but I watched one game a week on Sunday afternoon on ABC with Chris Schenkel and Jack Twyman, you know, on that one day. And it was always usually the Celtics against somebody on the parquet floor, you know. And so I love that era because it set the wheels in motion to create the NBA's evolution. So Russell, Havlicek was my favorite player growing up because, you know, it was about his size, and I thought, you know, I can play like him. So I took back then, you know, you didn't have all the camps, clinics, and all the opportunities, so you just had to kind of do it on your own. I was fortunate to have a visionary high school coach in the little teeny school I went to in Iowa. So I'm making this long. I'm sorry.
No, we've got time.
But so I love that era, phasing into the ABA coming on board. I remember the first time I saw Dr. J play. It was like, my God, what is this? And then watching Pete Maravich. I saw the game where Pete Maravich had 63 against Kentucky and Issel had 51. No 3-pointers, no shot clock.
Wow.
You know, I mean, that in Maravich completely changed the way people perceived that they could play the game. Again, one of those seminal moments. The ball handling, the passing, the flash, the sizzle to the steak. It was just marvelous. But then I would have to say my favorite era is Bird Magic.
Okay.
The Lakers Celtic era was incredible, just incredible. And then followed by Jordan in that era. I honestly hardly remember Shaq, Kobe, Iverson, that group through that 2000s. And I love the Curry Golden State Warriors. And I'm okay with the NBA now. Like, I like it. I enjoy it. I appreciate it. I'm not nuts about it, to be quite honest. It feels more corporate now. And the players are better than they've ever been. They're more athletic than they've ever been. The games kind of turned into a lot of times a YMCA Saturday afternoon of just hucking threes. You know, the overemphasis on analytics. That's why I love Jokic so much, is he's kind of a hybrid. He looks like a dude you would see at a YMCA, you know? He just, kind of not impressive physically, kind of lopes around when he dribbles and stuff high, but nobody takes the dribble. He picks you apart. He's just brilliant.
Yeah.
The vision he has with passing too.
Oh, it's incredible.
Just-
the angles he sees are just remarkable. So long-winded answer, but it kind of gives you sort of my frame of reference on the appreciation for the development of the sport.
I love that.
Yeah.
I do miss when it was getting that tough too. It wasn't the threes. I liked that jump shot too, or whatever that.
The mid-range.
Yeah, and the battle that you would have at the net or in the paint. I remember when the Lakers beat the Celtics in the 2010 championship, I think it was, Game 7. Like, it was only like a 79-74 Game 7 or something. Like, it wasn't a high-scoring game. It was tight defensively, but it drew me in that entire game. And every possession just mattered so much, because if you got that basket, it might have been the game-winning basket. There still was 2 minutes to go, but it could be like, that is such an important basket. You didn't know that each team's going to huck 5 threes each.
Well, yeah, and I love that perspective, appreciating, like, when people criticize the Big Ten, for instance, in college basketball, well, it's so slow. Yeah, but you got to see what they're doing. You know, you have to appreciate different styles of play. And I think the NBA, on one hand, from a marketing standpoint, they're masterful.
Yeah.
But they put such silly rules into the game about how you have to guard. No defensive 3 seconds. I mean, like Luka Doncic has said, like, it's much harder to play in EuroLeague than it is in the NBA. You know, and one coach who just got lambasted on social media the other day said Luka had averaged 16 in EuroLeague now, as opposed to 35 in the NBA. But he's probably right. Maybe Luka would average 20. But if you're scoring 20 in EuroLeague, those are huge numbers, because the scores are 79-74, because you've got a 7'2", 280-pound behemoth parked in the middle of the lane that's going to make your going to the basket a lot tougher. You know, like, it's just a very different brand of basketball. I'd love to talk to you about hockey rules, because as a growing hockey fan, they drive me nuts sometimes. As a basketball guy, like,
What's the number one rule that drives you nuts?
Yeah.
Offsides.
Oh.
It drives me out of my mind. Like, I see guys going down the ice and they're offside. I go, why? You know, but I mean, basketball has its quirks too, like over and back, you know, the 24-second clock. Why? I mean, there's good reasons for everything, I know. But as somebody from the outside looking in, I go, why can't scores be 8-6 instead of 2-1? You know, like, but I'm not a purist like that. I'm a sports fan. I think hockey athletes are the best athletes in the world. To me, there's no comparison. Like, what you guys do on skates with a stick on that little hard puck with all that action going around is unthinkable to me. Like, I just marvel at it. I was driving my wife nuts, going, "Look at that! Look at that! How's he do that?" So, no, it's just magnificent. But I know there's good reasons for it, and it's not critical. It's just understanding, like, why do you take away offensive opportunities? But the one that the icing, okay, I guess I kind of get that, but the offsides, I don't understand.
I
It's
think
funny.
the shot clock like counter type thing, which is to not just kill the clock.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking about offside rules, and they got rid of the 2-line pass, which
Right.
opened up the game. And
Right.
that's good. Trying to think about. I mean, could you just leave a guy in the offensive zone and just wait for that pass, or?
But then it's a 5-on-4
I
the
know.
entire time,
Yeah.
right?
If you want to create more offense, you take out the blue lines completely.
Well,
It's not.
you just can't.
How much did it come from? I don't know.
It can't be a 3-line pass. That's the only thing. Maybe or something.
What if there's no blue line?
If there's that
You have
doesn't
to
work
completely rethink offense.
too. Yeah.
What
And
I'd
how you
love to
defend.
see is an alternative universe for all sports, but for hockey. Take that all out
Yeah.
and just let them play.
Pond hockey.
Well,
That's what that is.
When
Yes.
I can tell you, some of the most fun times playing were summer with a bunch of pros or after, where we would just be like, it would get physical and stuff, and we'd kind of police ourselves if it got too heated. But we'd shorten the rink and just like play small zone stuff where it happened real quick, and it's intense but it's really fun.
3x3.
Well, they're supposedly
it-
coming with a league, so
Yeah.
All these variations are really fascinating.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like getting into smaller. When I was in, I'll date myself, but I played my first 3-on-3 league in 1971. My high school coach had the brilliant idea of a 3-on-3 league. Is that we got our public school and our Catholic school together, and we had a league. It was so much fun. Then when I went to the university I played at, my coach and I put together a 3-on-3 spring league. We played full court the first half court the second half. Again, it was so much fun. I had 67 points in one game, so I love that.
No big deal.
But no 3. But that was, but it was like, it was just so much fun, and that just always stuck with me. Like in the smaller spaces, that's why I love 3x3 so much. Is for developmentally for little kids.
Yeah.
Like to me, up to 11 to 13, they should play 3-on-3. Because you dribble, pass, and shoot, and you're refining your skills. The other stuff will come later, but learn how to dribble, pass, and shoot, and it keeps kids involved. If you play 5-on-5 and you're 11, and you have one kid who's a super athlete, he's going to dribble down through everybody and shoot 80% of the time,
Yeah.
and the youngster who's a little bigger, not quite as developed athletically, may not touch the ball hardly the whole game. And for young girls, it's really hard because the physical play, and 3-on-3 eliminates a lot of that developmentally. And the other thing is everybody over 40 should play 3-on-3, because I always tell my friends who are doing that, I said, you know what you look like now playing 5-on-5 full court? Do you have any sense of what this is? This is hard to watch now. Go 3-on-3, save your knees, shoot the ball, dribble the ball, pass it, run 5 to 10 feet, not 50 to 60.
Oof.
Well, isn't it Columbus? They have in the practice rink. I'm pretty sure it's Columbus. They have the mini rink right beside, just off of it. Do you
I can't remember. I know they have the practice rink.
Yeah, that was the first time I saw, I think it's Columbus, where there was an actual little mini rink beside the practice rink. And half of us were like little kids. We want to go play on the little rink. And so practice was done. I jump out there and a bunch of other guys, and we started playing. And I remember, I don't know who the trainers were like, guys, come on. Let's go! Like they got mad at us because we were just
What fun,
yeah,
though.
it was a lot. It was a lot of fun on this little rink, and guys were we were just all yelling at each other and telling each other sucked. But that's the fun part of just the.
Well, my son's 41, and he's still able to compete in 3x3 internationally, very successfully. He's still, able to do that. But I mean, if it was 5-on-5, that wouldn't be the case at all But shortening the space and, again, putting the emphasis on the skills part of the game, although, as you'll see, that's where the rugby element comes into it. It's a very physical game at the high levels. So kind of got something for everybody.
This is the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots. Paul Sir, Matt Iwanyk, Joaquin Gage, Tom Gazzola with you here. Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. It's taking place July 12th through the 14th, Kingsman Park. We want to qualify you for a VIP table to the Sunday with Burt Kreischer, Whitney Cummings. Great Outdoors Comedy Festival.com for information. Alleycat, the official beer of the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival here in Edmonton, which features the 6 o'clocker lager. Text us 3x3. 3x3 to 780-218-9999. You'll go into a draw to be qualified. We're going to give that away next Friday on the morning show. So, yeah, just text 3x3 to 780-218-9999. Back to the Olympics. Women's side, we'll start there. Where's Canada rank? What?
They're ranked 4th in the world.
So, like, what is a reasonable expectation we should have on the women's side?
Of the 3 teams, they're the one that I am not sure what's going to happen. And the reason I say that, I just don't know about the blend of talents. They've got I think they have all the talent they need. They have phenomenal coaching, but to date, I haven't seen them really gel yet in the way that I think their potential should allow them to gel. So what's a realistic expectation? Top 8. Can they medal? Absolutely. If they find their stride, they are the only team that I think is physically superior to them are the Americans. I mean, they unless something extreme happens, they will once again on the women's side walk through the competition. But Canada on a good night should be able to play with anybody else in the world. So they have a legit shot at being on the podium. Nice. And I know that's their hope. That's the hope of Canada basketball.
Well, probably just the COC, Canadian Olympic Committee in general. There's a lot of medals out there for Canada just overall in various different spots, which is just wild to see when it comes to the summer. But then with the men's side, like, disappointed Shai and Jamal didn't get to the Western Conference Finals to meet each other, but it was also one of those, hey, they get an extra round off.
That's right. This is good.
Little extra rest for Canada.
Oh, no, good.
Like, it was one of those. It's like, I'll take that little few more weeks off for those boys. Let's
100%.
Let's get ready. That's like, it's such an impressive roster when you look at it.
They are capable of beating the Americans.
Wow.
They are capable of beating anybody in the world. Not that they will, but there is not a better backcourt in the world than Gilgeous-Alexander and Murray.
Well, I was going to say, if it's late in a game, that's an unbelievable backcourt that you're dealing with. You're tight.
It is. And of the two, the guy I would want to have the ball in his hands would be Shai. He's unbelievable. And he is clutch. He is money. He is ice water in his veins. Like, this guy is a player. He is a player. He put, again, you talk about take one player off. Take him off OKC. They're a far different team. Like, he made them great because he plays both ends of the ball and he can pass really well. And this goes back to what we were touching on before about what you were saying about the basketball 2010. The mid-range game is part of Gilgeous-Alexander's repertoire. Same with Jamal Murray. And in FIBA, that's important. In the NBA, analytics has driven it all to layups and threes. But in FIBA, the mid-range game is really important. So, yeah, I could go on for hours, as you can tell, on those two. Those guys are great. Those guys are great. They're a little vulnerable at the post. Now, does Zach Edey help alleviate that? I don't know that they're really going to seriously play him at all, but Olenek, Kelly's a really good player. He's certainly a good FIBA player. Like, he passes the ball well. He can step out and shoot the three. He can guard a bit in the lane. But that's the only area I think they're a little bit weaker. But the wings, RJ Barrett, very good. But at the backcourt is world class.
How does Wiggins fit into this?
It depends on Wiggins.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if Wiggins shows up and he's not, like, you don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. Like, he had an all-star season, then he kind of disappears. Like, I really just don't know. You just don't know the guy. But if he's engaged, he's a real asset because he can guard, anybody on the floor, and he's capable of being good offensively. It's still going to be the guards that are going to decide, but he should be he should be a valuable part of the team.
What about reffing? I know, like, international competition in hockey, when I did it, it was a big difference. Is there any huge difference from international to NBA, would you say?
Yeah, they allow it to be more physical.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. then you always get into home cooking. You know, you don't know, you don't know, but
Yeah.
but I mean, there's always lots of talk about that. But I think, it'll just be very physical. And the FIBA game, again, because of the defense, it's just straight up basketball, 40 minutes of straight up basketball, and not having the luxury of not allowing bigs to stay in the middle for longer than 3 seconds. It'll just be a different game. But I think that plays into Canada's strengths, to be honest, because that's where Murray and Gilgeous-Alexander and others excel. So, yeah, I think they're going to be great. Americans are going to be, I mean, they're daunting because the name, the cachet, but a lot of old dudes on that team too. So really good old dudes, but older.
And when you
dudes.
deal with just one game, when it's just one game, you never know if they just get cold at the wrong time
100%.
and you get hot at the right time. All of a sudden, boom, you have a big lead that you get to protect or something like that. Like it's
100%.
That's the key to it all. Like, you just need to get to that game, and you never know what's going to happen. And the Canadians have the players that if they have that little off game and you have that little, they will catch you.
100%. And 40 minutes is a lot different than 48.
Yeah.
You know, like that, if you get up, if they're cold and you get up and you're trying to protect a lead, that's a lot different than 48, where you can see big leads just absolutely evaporate in the NBA.
Yeah.
I always love the Olympics, and it's just so much fun. Like getting to summers now and going. There's a lot of Canadians to cheer for, a lot of Canadian teams to cheer for, and there's the 3 basketball teams, the women's soccer team, the men in athletically especially, the women in the pool especially. There's just so many different spots.
I just double checked the U.S. roster. It is a lot of old dudes.
Yeah,
There's
their
a lot
names.
of threes at the beginning of the ages.
There's a lot of names there.
I'm like,
but
what a roster. Wow, those guys are old.
No, it's true. And will that experience translate? Most likely, But then you have the Ant.
Yeah.
He's going to come in with the youthful enthusiasm, we'll call it,
pizzazz there,
unpredictability.
is Pop still their coach?
Or
Or is it Kurt?
It's Kurt. Yeah,
Kerr's the coach. That's a good coach too.
that's a good coach.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. I love Steve Kerr.
I love listening to him talk.
Isn't he just you just want to sit down and have a beer with him.
Yeah.
And just hear his stories.
Oh, gosh,
and the way he tells them.
100%.
Yeah. So, it's an exciting time for Canada going into the Olympics.
I'm excited.
Just a reminder, coming up around 11:30, we're gonna have a shorter lock shot. Myself and Haas. We got CFL picks, maybe a little bit of soccer talk with Euros and Copa America Canada, the big game on Saturday against Chile. If they draw, as long as Peru doesn't beat Argentina, Canada at the very least they go through to the next round of Copa America. So that's a big day on Saturday for Canada soccer. But then 11:30, Jeff Jackson's going to be speaking to the media via Zoom, as it was also announced today that the Oilers and Ken Holland have agreed mutually that his contract won't be extended following its expiration in the next couple of days. So we'll hear from Jeff Jackson in a little bit right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Just a few more minutes, Paul. Let's get back to more information. If people want more information on Hoop City 3x3,
go to donorthevents.ca. Donorthevents.ca. Due North is a great partner of ours. They're experts in delivering large-scale, high-level international sporting events. They're just fantastic to work with, and we decided to go away from the branded website and go just to their website, and then you just click on the Hoop City link to get more information. You can still register your team. We're still taking registrations through Sunday, and you can buy tickets as well. Tickets are $10. For an individual for a day, $5 for students, $25 for a family of 5. So very affordable, reasonable. Some of the things we have going on aside from the food trucks, we have a lot of cultural performances on Sunday. We have a slam dunk competition.
Cool. Ooh,
we bring in and we bring in professional dunkers.
Okay.
It's not
oh, cool.
the local 36-year-old who thinks he can still dunk, but these guys are unbelievable.
This is what they train for.
They train for.
These
They're
type of
jumping
things.
over
Yeah.
3 people. Sort of
Oh,
stuff.
so cool.
It's outrageous to watch them. We have a very cool shootout on Saturday. Michelle and Catherine Plouffe and Steve Sir will shoot out against each other.
Oh.
And the winner will present a $500 check sponsored by Shoot 360 to a local charity.
Nice.
Cool.
So we're taking the NCAA Curry versus Ionescu shootout that they had,
Yeah.
and then making it a charitable event. So,
Very
that.
cool.
so yeah,
So that's next Friday. It all begins down at it's called Fan Park area.
we're in the Fan Park.
Fan
Yeah.
Park. That's the wording of it. It is a lot of fun. I highly recommend going and check it out. And you got to be outside. You got to watch 3x3 basketball.
Maybe
you got to go
summer
see.
weather will be there.
You gotta
Otherwise,
go grab a bite.
240-kilometer winds will be okay.
You're still okay.
Yeah.
You're still going to be
okay.
protected. Still going to be covered.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun. And this is why Edmonton's great in the summers. It's events like these. It's Festival City. You know, there's always something to do around town. So this is one definitely I would highly recommend going to check out.
Can I ask you guys how is your Stanley Cup hangover going? Like how?
Well, I didn't lose, so I'm okay.
I'm great because I'm all in on the soccer. I'm all in on that.
You're okay.
So
You rebounded nicely.
On the next day, Canada beat Peru, so it was like,
Yeah.
yes, let's go.
Yep. The adrenaline factor.
Gager?
It always. I love watching grown men act as little boys at a tournament that they played on when they were 10, 12 years old. I get a lot of enjoyment out of that. But on the flip side, when I see players that I know, like, it's so difficult to get to that point. You know, it was like what they had to do was just amazing. And when you see the vanquished, the agony of defeat, you know, I feel really bad, you know, and I hate seeing really talented, good athletes not reaching the pinnacle, you know, and
Right.
And I like I don't want to say deserve because it's not the right word. I don't know what the right word is, but hopefully it happens for a lot of these guys at some point. That's what the last game of the season really affects me in that way a little bit. But I mean, working with these guys and doing it consistently, sometimes I'm scared coming in here. Goes, what am I going to talk about today? It's nice to have a little bit of a break, you know. And I'm looking forward to see the construction of what's going to happen with this team, what's going to happen with other teams in their division and stuff. And just I know that I'd like to start looking at some younger things. I know Dusty's getting involved with the Hlinka Gretzky tournament in a month from now. I'd love to go watch. Oil Kings games are some of the most fun games to go watch because these guys are just reckless abandon, and it's almost, I equate it to a little bit more like college basketball where there's more mistakes, you know.
Yes.
And it's sometimes a little bit more enjoyable to watch. But no, I'm glad for the break, I'd say.
It's great to have had it happen, so you need a break. you know, who wouldn't give anything to have that situation where it's refreshing to get away from it now because it just went to have hockey go past the NBA in terms of finishing that rarely happens.
Well, that shouldn't happen anymore. I'll say that.
Paul, we
We need to get it sooner.
We've got a day today of nothing except for the announcement that the Oilers will not be bringing back their GM. And then tomorrow, between now and tomorrow, we have a few hours, and then it's the draft. So
Just
this
right
is
back.
all that we need for a break, right? Like, we're good.
You
We're
got a
fulfilled.
day off.
We've got our win back.
Well, and in the NBA today, we find out if Bronny James.
The Lakers got a nice player dropped to them.
They did.
I think
That was the steal
now
of the
someone's
draft.
going to take Bronny just to screw the Lakers over. So
Hey,
I
I'm
think-
watching
I
Bronny
think that
doing.
would be great drama.
Yeah.
That would be
if he
hilarious.
gets no, keep him with the Lakers.
I
just
know
so
you're a
that-
Laker guy. That's why I'm saying this.
It's either the two things. No, Lakers need to take him just to keep James.
Yeah,
just to make
exactly.
sure we're good with James.
Exactly.
No.
Nobody will dare test that.
The only team apparently would be the Suns. The only team that worked him out would be the Suns. They're the only team that I think got to watch for.
Is he a legit pro? Like, is he going to be good, or is it all legacy? Like, what is it?
Who knows?
Should have went back
But
to
he
college.
averaged under 5 points a game and didn't start. And the poor young man, cardiac arrest. I still don't understand what happened there. But You hope like heck he's healthy and can have a healthy career at whatever he does. But yeah, I mean, there's only one reason he's being considered.
Yeah.
And that, and if that ends up with Bronny sitting on the bench with the Lakers and with JJ Redick, which blows my mind as their head coach.
As a Duke fan, I'm very excited.
Are you?
Well, because it's like he was my favorite Duke player ever.
Okay.
Like really, like I
Yeah.
love JJ Redick. I loved his career. So it's like two worlds colliding, but also this could go so bad. This could go so bad.
Your podcast partner, dad of a kid that averaged 5 points a game, coming in here. The pieces don't just
What a
automatically
dynamic.
align.
Yeah.
Either this is going to be like the greatest story written or the biggest disaster ever.
What in the world was that?
We will find
it'll
out.
be interesting. It's going to be interesting. And I'm curious to see how Redick does.
Running back Relentless. We talked about that doc earlier in the Hangout today. You can catch it at Google Play or Apple. Coming out next week on Amazon Music. Hoop City 3x3. DueNorthEvents.ca for more information. But that goes next Friday, Saturday, Sunday out at Fan Park in the Ice District area. It is a lot of fun. Be sure to find some time to check that out and cheer on the Plouffe sisters. Our final chance to cheer them on as they get set to head off to Paris. Paul, thanks for coming in. It was great.
Thanks, man.
It's always great having you around.
Really nice meeting
Nice to meet you too, bud.
Tom. Great seeing
Always
you as
good to
always.
see you, Paul.
Yeah, likewise.
Two guys and a goalie later today after Jeff Jackson, so looking forward to that. On behalf of Tommy, Gager, Matt, Paul, this is the EST Hangout presented by Two Hoots Hard Iced Tea. Thanks for tuning in. Up next, it is the Lock Shop. Myself and Huss will get you set for week 4 in the Canadian Football League, which includes the Elks. And I didn't even mention the Elks yet.
We have to make our picks.
Green and Gold kickoff show tonight, 7 o'clock. Myself and Jay Milne, live Centric Casino Sports Bar and Lounge, where every day is game day. We'll get you set for that game later tonight. But Huss and I will talk some CFL up next here in Edmonton Sports Talk. Don't go anywhere.
Let's go. There you go, right in front of the camera.
First-time guest, long-time listener, fan of the original draft commissioner.
Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by White Claw Hard Seltzer. The difference is clear. Matt Iwanyk, Tom Gazzola with here. Joining us today,